Thank you for coming to learn more about the IB Diploma Program. Um, we have some information to share with you tonight as parents of upcoming sophomores or upcoming juniors, sophomores, um, that will help you make a more informed decision about the IB Diploma Program. Okay, so the IB is operating on the premise that they are trying to develop the whole child. So they're aiming to develop inquiring, knowledgeable, and caring young people who help to create a better and more peaceful world through intercultural understanding and respect. The IB Diploma Program contains 3 subjects at the higher level. So those subjects are college credit yielding, and those courses run over the span of 2 years. And 3 subjects are at the standard level. So those courses are sometimes college credit yielding in some states, and with certain scores. We have known Ohio State to petition for college credit. They are not as guaranteed to yield college credit as a higher level course. And then all 3 parts of the core are part of the IB Diploma Program as well. So the IB Diploma at Beaumont is a little bit specific to our school and our curriculum. IB gives schools a lot of flexibility in how they operate within the IB parameters. So at Beaumont, we do require all of our IB students to do English Literature HL. We have great success with that course. We had 95% of our students who took that course yield a college credit yielding score last year. And the course itself is really well aligned with the honors curriculum that we used to provide at Beaumont. So it really was a beautiful, seamless transition. Our teachers love it. So we require everyone who is going to do IB to do that. The social studies group, we have 2 options. History HL, which covers required American history junior year and world history senior year, and then environmental systems and societies. And you'll notice that that is also a potential elective or science class. So we really like that class because our students have a lot of interest in environmental systems and societies. And also it gives us a lot of flexibility because it can apply in group 4 or group 6 as well. In mathematics, we have 2 different courses. Analysis and approaches gets into a traditional calculus, derivatives and integrals, math sequence, and applications and interpretations is a nice preparation for students who want to go into social sciences or business. There's more statistics in that class, but it does also get into pre-calculus. Group 6, and trigonometry, I should say. Group 6 are arts and electives, and those courses are typically going to be the visual arts or the musics. But students who aren't visual artists or musicians can also substitute with design technology, environmental systems and society, or computer science. Group 4 are experimental sciences, and students have a pretty wide selection here at Beaumont to satisfy that group. We added IB computer science last year, and we're very excited about that offering. And then in group 2, we have our 3 languages. Latin is the only one that is offered at the HL level. So your student really customizes their program based on their interests and strengths. So if your student is very strong in Latin, for example, they could take that as one of their HLs, and then they could maybe take social studies at the SL level. So we sit down with each individual student in group guidance this week and make those determinations with the student based on their own interests. IB courses are designed to emphasize non-traditional student-centered learning. We are all trained in what the IB calls the approaches to teaching and learning. So these are research-backed pedagogical approaches that we know are effective for learning outcomes. So we had an expert from Toronto come in and work with us almost 2 years ago. And all of the teachers across the building try to implement those. And the IB teachers also have additional IB training in their course. The approach is meant to be collaborative, communicative, and inquiry-based. And the IB also emphasizes the international perspective in everything that we do. So for example, our American history class is not American history, it's history of the Americas. And we look at all the regions in North and South America, as well as the US. Oh, I just got a message that you are not seeing my PowerPoint, so I apologize for that. Let me see if I can fix that. I thought I pressed that button. Okay. So here's the visual of those 6 different language groups and social studies groups, sciences, math, and electives. The students will see this in their group guidance classes as well this week, next week. The approach to scheduling is extremely personalized at Beaumont. And if they have interest in the IB diploma, I will be in group guidance all next week. We will sit down and go over this one-on-one. So this is what I was just talking about with our approaches to pedagogy and the IB. And we also find that the IB is very aligned with our Ursuline mission. So we have students focused on solving big problems. We had a cross-curricular mission to Mars in recent years where physics, biology, and chemistry all work together in design technology. And that was centered around some of the expeditions that are happening current event wise, and they looked at all the different curricular aspects of that. The IB learner profile also emphasizes risk-taking, being reflective, balanced, caring, communicative. These are called the IB learner profile traits. And actually, we're pretty excited because we are in the process right now of being evaluated by the IB organization. And we passed phase 1 with flying colors. And phase 2 is sort of identifying a way that you can grow your IB program. And we decided just, in light of recent events, we really wanted to do something that focused on the whole child. So we are going to expand the presence and the integration of the IB learner profile. And we're going to have teachers align rubrics and reflections on all of these points with students in each course. So a teacher is going to create a detailed rubric and reflection exercise for students on their personal characteristics that aligns with some kind of project or assessment in their class, so that students can really be reflective about what does it mean to be caring, and was I caring in this group project, and how could I have been more caring, those kinds of things. So we're really excited about that initiative. So a lot of parents like to ask and wonder, why should I enroll in the IB Diploma Program? And what is it going to do as far as college credits, and how is it going to help with university? We love the IB Diploma Program because of that great pedagogy, because of the curricular approaches, because it's cross curricular, because of that whole child focus. But a lot of times families want to know, is it going to help me in the college process? And we do want you to know that IB diploma students are twice as likely to be accepted to the most selective universities. When you look at statistics of university admissions, they generally double across the board, with a few exceptions, for IB diploma candidates versus the general population. So, like, one example that I think I remember, is at one university, it was 14% for IB diploma students and 7% for the regular population that were non-IB diploma students. IB diploma students earn more scholarship dollars. They're more likely to graduate and earn a significant amount of college credit than the general population as well. And people oftentimes ask, well, how much college credit? How does this compare to CCP and AP? So we just wanted to give a general example. So we think that an IB diploma student at Beaumont is typically going to earn somewhere between 10 and 22 credit hours. We also do offer a couple AP classes that complement our program nicely. So AP Gov is a course that we offer that will yield typically 3 credits for a semester of government. And then a student who takes HL History, Bio, and English might earn 3 to 6 credit hours in history, 4 to 8 in bio, 3 to 6 in English. And the reason I put a range there is because each college and university sets their own standard and threshold for what score in each of those classes will yield what credits. One thing that I think is really, really important to consider is that because IB courses are 2 years and 200 plus hours of instruction, if a student scores highly in those classes, sometimes colleges will award 2 semesters of credit for an IB-HL course, whereas typically an AP course is going to be straight 1 semester. So that is why I have that range there. Now, oftentimes schools will say, well, if you score 6 on a scale of 1 to 7 in IB, then we'll give you 2 semesters. But if you score a 4, then we'll give you 1. So that's why it varies quite a bit, and we have those ranges. So we also offer AP Chemistry, and this is just one example at Ohio State based on their credit awarding formulas. But we do want you to know that it is a significant amount of credit. So the core is what really differentiates the IB diploma from taking IB courses. So we wanted to let you know about these elements of the core tonight. Theory of knowledge is really special and unique aspect of IB. So the instructor is Mrs. Burnett, and she has a master's degree in theology and is our campus minister and has been a teacher for many years. So she's a wonderful person to take students on this journey through TOK, where students really reflect on how they know what they know, how they acquire knowledge, and they consider that and apply that to their own lives and their courses cross-curricularly. A lot of people come back and say, TOK is really what separated my experience as an IB student from what I think other students experienced. When I got to university, I realized that I had sort of gone through this metacognitive exercise that not every high school student had. So it's a pretty unique and memorable class. The extended essay, the EE coordinator, Mrs. Vitito, takes students through kind of their magnum opus. They get to research any topic of their choosing. It's a 4,000 word essay exploring anything that aligns with any IB course offering, whether we have it here or not. And students really have done some amazing things with the extended essay. This year we had a student investigate whether Twitter sentiment affected stock prices. She wrote and worked in conjunction with a supervisor to write an algorithm to monitor that, and it was just really phenomenal work. We've had students look at environmental impact of asphalt and the runoff from asphalt. We've had students do all kinds of historical topics and literary investigations, so it really is a terrific opportunity for them. Creativity, activity, and service is where students are able to engage in service experiences, but we take it a step further in IB than in general for all Beaumont students. So all Beaumont students, as you know, engage in service and have a significant service project junior year. In IB, we ask the students to reflect on those service experiences, to consider how they impact both local and global communities, or how they're connected to both local and global communities. We ask them to think about how, through those experiences, they've demonstrated the IB learner profile. And we ask them to provide evidence through photos. They keep an ongoing on a digital record of their experiences. And it really just takes it up a notch as far as students reflecting and learning from their experiences. It's called creativity, activity, and service because not every experience has to be a service experience. The students can also talk about their growth in a sport or in an activity and reflect on those experiences as well. As part of this, the students do undertake a project, and that's actually fairly similar to the junior service project that we do at Beaumont as well. So IB is really well aligned to what we were already doing as a Nurseland school. So the next steps are that your students should have an individual meeting with me during group guidance next week. I will be in all the group guidance classes next week, and anybody who wants to plot out their own course selection for the full IB diploma should meet with me. A parent signed IB contract will be due in March, and students will receive all this information very soon. The one thing that differentiates students from who are full IB diploma versus taking some IB courses is that TOK class. So it is really important that they then register for TOK when they do course registration if they are considering full IB diploma. The annual fee for the full diploma is $415. And if students do not do the full diploma, then they are assessed $119 per exam. So $415 is charged in May of each year of the IB diploma. And essentially that covers the 6 exams, which it almost equals the total amount that's paid, but the additional $100 or so that comes in through the program fees also covers things like the IB stoles at graduation, or facilitates specific experiences or lunches that we might do just with the IB cohort during their time. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to throw them into the chat and we'll see what we can address. Is the $415 per year? Yes, so it's junior year is $415 and senior year is $415, and that those charges are assessed in May prior to the year. So if a student were to take 6 exams, that would be 119 times 6, but they are not charged for those individual exams, then that's included in their program fee. This is a great question. What's the overall passing rate at Beaumont? So 8 out of 10 IB courses, I believe last year, And I feel like I might be, those numbers might just be off a little bit. Maybe it was 8 out of 11 or something like that. But it had 100% passage rate at Beaumont. Our passage rates are extraordinary. Um, and as I said earlier, in English Lit, we had 95% passage rate. Now, please keep in mind, though, that almost 2/3 of our students do take an IB course. So we try to break down any barriers to entry. We want our students exposed to the rigor and the pedagogy, and we have a lot of success even with a large number of students enrolled. So we're really, really proud of that. So the Mr. Byer put a comment in here. Yeah, just explaining that those costs, that $415 per year, again, does cover your testing fees. So, you know, if a student were not full IB diploma and they decided to go ahead and take 6 IB classes, but not the core, for example, they would be paying $720 in testing fees. Whereas if you're full IB diploma, you're paying $830. So the extra 110 goes towards the cost of those core courses and graduation stoles and the students wear an IB pin, things like that, incidentals. Is language a requirement? Yes. The IB is very internationally focused. So yes, one of the foreign language classes is a requirement. So that's okay because so the question here is my daughter might be done early with Latin. That's okay because she can, there's 2 ways we've handled that. One is students have taken a pause in Latin and then they go back their senior year and examine an HL. Another is that students test out as an SL student in Latin. And then you could do like a college credit plus Latin on an individual basis or something like that your senior year. So that's okay. We can handle just about any situation. And we do handle just about any situation at Beaumont. We do look for ways to make it work for everyone because, you know, we again are pretty committed to breaking down any barriers to access our programs. So the question was, can you clarify again, what was it about the Latin HL as opposed to another language in the IB program? Latin is the only language we offer at the HL, the higher level. So that college credit yielding potentially 2 semester level. And the reason for that really is that most schools in the US do offer foreign language at the SL level. The HL level is pretty rigorous and it's European schools are pretty advanced in foreign languages, kind of more so than the US. So you see more of those HL courses over in Europe. But we do offer it in Latin, which tends to be a little bit of a different experience than the speaking foreign languages. The question is, Dr. O'Brien had said she was willing to do a Latin 5. Is that possible? Well, I will certainly pass that question along to Mr. Byer. Are there any other questions? I'll wait just a little bit longer and see. Mr. Byer says, yes, we're always willing to explore options to meet our students' needs. Terrific. Can the kids take IB classes even if they don't do the diploma? Absolutely. Absolutely. We usually have, you know, I don't know, somewhere between 10 and 15% of the students in a class doing the IB diploma, the full diploma. And like I said, 2/3 of our students take an IB course before they leave Beaumont. So yes, absolutely. We want anyone who wants to take on a rigorous course. And, you know, sometimes students just have a higher level of interest in 1 or 2 subjects versus the others. And that's great. That's fine with us. our goal is to just make sure we're offering a variety so everybody can get what they are seeking. Can they opt to take the test, only one or two of them versus all six? That's a really great question, because in the handbook we do, and most schools do this, where the policy is if you take an IB or an AP class, you are committing to take the exam. So we generally do require them to take the test if they're in the course, if they're in any IB course. There are a few exceptions to that, though. With our foreign language classes, for example, and our music classes, those are co-seated classes, meaning that the IB courses are the only courses we offer proceeding into those higher honor levels. So we do allow students to opt in or opt out when it is the only course they can take to keep proceeding. So there are a couple exceptions where they're opt in, opt out. But for the most case, across the IB program, it's actually required then to take that test if you finished an IB class. I'll just give it maybe like 30 more seconds and see if any other questions pop up. And I'm going to type my email into the chat. So feel free to copy and paste that and send me any follow-up emails. Will you be sending out the slides or posting them? Yes, actually I'm recording this, so we will be posting it on the website. So anybody will be able to access this information. Yeah, thank you. Thank you all so much for being here and learning more about the IB diploma. I know that there were several students who went to the lunches today with the senior IB students and found out more about the IB program. So ask your student about that and see if they did and what they learned today. So I did get one more question here. So basically, if you take the IB class, you're committing to the test fee, even if the student doesn't do well in the course. Again, for most IB classes, yes, you are. So the test and the course grade are two separate things. Sometimes we've had students, earn one grade in the class and kind of reflect a little bit differently on the assessments. And do remember with IB that the assessment is not just a test, it is an internal assessment, a project of some sort, or an oral exam of some sort, or an analysis paper of some sort, and then also the external exam, which is the test at the end of the year. So IB doesn't believe in a single hour of assessment to figure out where your student lands. And they generally try to steer away from bubble sheets too. So the IB does put a lot into making sure they get a full snapshot of the student's performance in the class. And they put a significant amount of time and energy into those assessments too. The assessments are also very predictive of college success and pretty highly regarded by universities. So we think there's a lot of value in them. Thank you. Thank you also for your time being here tonight, investing this time in your students. All right, if there are no more questions popping up, then I will let everyone go. And again, we will post this presentation on the website. Thank you. Have a good night. Okay, hi everyone. It's 7 o'clock, so we will go ahead and get started.